Hey everybody, welcome to the Wednesday live stream. As usual, 3 o'clock. Well, I'm 2 minutes late, but gonna do a little Q&A. I just released a new video. I'll show a couple snippets from that. Couple things I need to catch up on. And I just realized I didn't get that video ready, Kit. So I got another little video I got to show today, but I might have to take a break and find it. Hey, Mark, how's it going? I see Mark Hendrickson. I see Nikki. I see Ring System Music. Raygun Radio Star. Gaz is here. Stargirl Music is here. Minton is here. Raymond? Yes, Raymond from Kentucky. Michael. Caruvia. I never can get these names. Oh, I see Lisa Chase Wolf on Twitch. And I'm going to try something today. Let me see if this works. I'm trying to set up a thing where we can see the chat on the screen. So like later on, when I'm editing a video or something like that, I can actually have it. So I set this up last night. I hope this works all right. Not bothering it with Instagram today. So this is something I used to do a long time ago. And I think I figured out a good way. It's working. And I've got Kit. Hey, Kit. There's Kit. Oh, and Harper is not here today. He had some other stuff he needed to take care of. So it's just going to be us today. And, yeah, we're just going to do some Q&A and, I don't know, see what's going on. Oh, there was a question. Let me go back. Hold on. Oh, where's my pop-out screen? Hold on a second. Somebody had a question before the stream even started. Where is it? He said, oh, it was Minton. He said, when producing, does Billy hear tracks in his head or does he make it up as he goes along? I do home recordings and I struggle what instrument to play, where and how he makes it look easy. No, I'm glad I make it look easy. It's absolutely not easy. It's actually kind of a nightmare sometimes. I mean, sometimes I do hear a track in my head. I've dreamed a lot of music, actually. There'll be these things and I'll dream something, and if I wake up, I'll sing it into my phone or something like that. It took me a long time to realize I could do that because normally in the dream, it's not me playing the music, it's somebody else playing the music. So I kept thinking there'd be like a copyright issue. And then I realized, oh, wait, it's my dream. So it's my music. So I can use it. And then sometimes, this is kind of weird, sometimes I'll be listening to somebody else's song and I'll get a melody idea or some other idea, but it's actually complete. I don't even know how to explain it. It won't have anything to do with the song I'm listening to, but it triggers me, but it's actually a different thing. And then sometimes I just make stuff up because I don't have the inspiration. I'll get down here and I've just found that if I just start doing something, I'm going to come up with something. Something's going to happen. And so there's that. And then, what was the rest of the question? And then as far as struggling what instruments to play and all that, sometimes I know what I'm going to do, but sometimes it's kind of like, so I just throw a bunch of stuff on there and I just keep layering and layering and I just start doing stuff. The trick is to have the courage to say, take that off. I mean, the problem with doing that is that you end up with too much stuff on your track. But what I've found is that I'll be layering and putting stuff on and doing new parts, and then I hit something and I'm like, oh, this makes everything else irrelevant. So you end up deleting everything else, which is actually kind of like the track I was working on Saturday. I've done it on 2 other streams. We did guitar parts. Harper was here helping, and then this last weekend when we did the really long drum recording session, it was mostly miking the drums and all that. That track was something like that I started it with a friend of mine, and it's kind of electronic, and I have none of the original parts on it anymore. The bass line was something I kind of came up with during that session, and now it's made everything else, irrelevant. So it evolves. And then sometimes it's easy. Sometimes you just pick it up, but it's just one of those things. No two tracks or songs or anything is ever done the same way. And let me quickly say, I put out a new video today. And actually, I was going to put up the thumbnail here, but this was actually inspired by what happened on Saturday, because during that stream, I kind of got a little worked up, and I kind of flipped out a little bit. And I think I had a good reason for doing it. And it got me thinking about a couple things. And this is the thumbnail for it right here. If you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see this. That's the video. And it's called I Flipped Out on a Live Stream.
Totally flipped out.
I didn't totally flip out. If you saw me actually totally flip out, it would not be something I would want to put on a live stream or a video. But there's some good messages in here talking about kind of what happened and how sessions work. And I'm going to show a little snippet of that during the stream today. And let's see what else. And I got a little teeny short video somebody sent me I got to play at some point. Kit, is there any, I was asking you about things that I needed to catch up on because I've not been on Discord. And
there's been so much cool stuff happening on Discord. But yeah, we've been, especially after the last couple of weeks with these epically long streams. Sorry, Casey. And, having more than one in the week, and then Billy trying to put out a new video, and other stuff that's been going on as well. It's, we haven't been able to keep up with Discord as much as we'd like.
Especially me. Yeah, I was up there looking earlier today, and it was like, oh man, I have stuff going on. I need to be there. And it's like one of those things where people always say, oh, for social media and all that, you got to form a community. And I've never been that good at that. But somehow it's happening here, which is really cool. Maybe because I'm not trying to form a community. It's just kind of happening. I'm just doing what I like. And I'm finding people that of like mine. But unfortunately, this last week or so, I've not been able to be involved in Discord just because last week was crazy. I figured out that I had done... In 8 days, I did 4 live streams that were literally hours and hours and hours long, like crazy long. I was exhausted.
5 hours, 7 hours.
Yeah, one was 8.5 or something like that. So, yeah. So, Kit, was there anything I needed to catch up on for...
Nothing else, I think, on my list. Nikki,
what was the thing that I said, hey, put that on the show notes? Where are your show notes?
They're right here, and it's not on there. I know.
Okay, listen, we're going to have a talk.
I know, right?
Hold on, I don't like the way this camera looks. That's the other thing. All my cameras, everything got kind of messed up.
Had to undo a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, that doesn't even look right there. Do I look stretched out? Everything was all messed up from the other stream. I moved all my cameras, and then earlier today I couldn't get my mic working because I had a different compressor hooked up I forgot about. Okay, that's good enough.
Nikki did have a question.
Okay.
Wonders, do you make demos with your keyboard and guitar?
Well, you kind of
don't make demos.
I mean, I kind of make demos to a degree. I got to a point, let me back up a little bit. Yes, I used to make demos. Maybe if it's just on my phone, or maybe you get a click track and you do the guitar, like, oh, I got the demo and let me redo it. And after years of working with other clients, and of course this happened to me too, where you'd be either mixing a client or producing them, and they have a demo, and there's something really cool there, and you go and redo it, and you keep going back to that demo and going, God, there's something there that's really, really cool. I kind of got to the point where I quit doing demos. So what I do is when I get an idea, I start, and first off, I make sure I'm in tune, and I make sure I've got my rig set up so I'm always getting a good sound. Even if it's a rough part, I've got good mics, everything, the best stuff I've got. And this is what you should do too. Make sure your rig's kind of always set up to record, and make sure you keep your guitars or whatever in tune. But basically the demo becomes the master. I'll do it and I'll start adding on to that. Maybe I'll go back and redo stuff, but it's right there. And the thing I noticed is that sometimes somebody will have a vocal melody, and on 1 or 2 lines, maybe they're singing something like da 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 da, and they do this little bend down, and they forget that they did it. They don't think of it as being part of the melody, and they go back and they redo it for the final version, and that's not there because they don't think that was important. And you go back and listen to it, that's it. That's the thing that really helped make it happen because of the way you pitch down or where you pitch down. So by having everything in the same session, it's always there for reference. And a lot of times, I actually am working on a song. I haven't shown any of it on a video yet. I don't well, I've shown some little parts of it, I think.
Which one? Sorry.
If I Could.
Oh, okay.
And that one, I was trying to come up with lyrics, and it's like, this is very rare for me. I had the mic set up, and I just started singing like, ah, yeah, like really top of my range and very soft. And actually, just off the top of my head, came up with a couple lyrics, and I never could beat the take. Luckily, I had a good recording of it. It wasn't perfect. I never could beat that. So some of that's on there. And then I went back and redid it, and I kept them on different tracks so I could kind of match up the EQs a little bit. It's amazing. If you have a good performance, that doesn't matter. Nobody will ever notice. So anyway, that's my answer to that.
Do you have any advice for always having an open heart and trying to know as much as possible in the media, but not getting lost in the process?
Ask the question again.
Do you have any advice for always having an open heart and trying to know as much as possible? So basically, keeping up with current events, but still trying to be open to that creativity and empathy and things like that you need for, your creative process.
Actually, I guess that kind of ties into the whole Grammy thing. Oh, God. All right. Well, so that's actually really important. It's something I've been thinking about a lot. I was actually talking to one of my kids about it because, all my kids are artistic, and I was talking about how I never went to any kind of school for music theory or engineering or anything. And I know I've said this on the stream before, but I've never actually seen anybody mix a song before in my life. I had to figure everything out on my own. It was very frustrating. But then as I got older, I would meet people who went to like really nice schools, and either they had a lot of education on music theory or engineering and all that. But I always felt like I was doing cooler stuff, and they agreed. But it took me a long time to figure out. I think with a lot of people, when you get a really heavy education, you get locked into a system without really realizing that you're locked into it. If there's a problem, they were taught a solution or are taught to avoid that problem. Whereas me, I'm running into problems left and right because I'm just casting about. And I think there's a balance between how much you do on your own and how much you open yourself up to other things as far as education. The other thing is, and I think this is what you're talking about, listening to other music a lot and being involved in that, it's easy to kind of lose your way and get lost. I'm going to say there's no clear answer to that because you got to know some of what's going on, but if you're too involved, I feel like then you just maybe are too influenced by other people and you can lose your way. And I feel like to be creative, you got to be somewhat isolated. And this actually kind of comes back. I had a meltdown a couple days ago here, not on camera, and it has to do with the Grammys. Now, I won a Grammy several years ago. And I was actually on the Grammy committee. I was on the board, and I was a voting member, and I was actually head of the producer and engineer wing for the Southeast. Not that I accomplished a lot because there was a lot of pushback on some of my ideas, which they do now, but back then they thought they were bad ideas, and now they do them because I guess they figured out they're good ideas. But I never really paid much attention to the Grammys. And the last week I saw people talking about the Grammys like, oh, I guess the Grammys are coming up, right? And I knew that they were happening, what was it, Sunday night? But I was busy working on a video. I was like, maybe I should watch it. And then the next day, I look online. And let me just say that to grow this YouTube channel, it's very important that I make really good videos. And it kind of is like working on music again. It's like I need to make sure I'm making videos that appeal to people and that are going to be something people want to watch and are popular and catchy, but at the same time, I've got to make sure that I'm not just like, what's the word? Patronizing people and making things too clickbaity and I need to look on you.
And also being true to yourself.
Yeah, and I think that's a real struggle for me, like not to be true to myself, but to be out there. Anyway, so Monday morning I get up and I've been saying to Kit like, oh, I need to make videos that are like, yeah, I got these cool videos and I get a lot of views on it, but to make money, because I got to make a living, I need videos that get hundreds of thousands of views. It's the only way I can make money and survive and do that. I've got to do that regularly. So it's like, I got to come up with these ideas that are mass appeal type things. And Monday morning, I get up and I look on YouTube and everybody's got these videos about the Grammys. And I was like, duh, I should have watched. And I should have said something about it. And normally I don't watch because I'm not that interested. But actually, Dochi was up and won some awards, so I really loved. There was a couple of things I kind of wanted to see, but I was so caught up in my video that I was working on, the one I put out today. And I was up there. I was like, God dang it. I didn't do it because it's not natural for me to think about what's popular in culture. So now I'm like, well, maybe I could do a video about how I didn't make a Grammy video. I don't know. But the point being is to answer the question, how much do you pay attention to what's going on in the world around you? That's something you got to figure out. And maybe the kind of music you're making, you want to fit right in with everybody else. And I don't have a problem with that. If somebody comes towards me and they say, I want to sound exactly like Chappell Roan or something like that, I'm like, well, that would be hard. You'd have to have a great voice. But let's listen to those records. That's fine if that's what you want to do. Other people that come in and they got a very unique thing, they're not listening to a lot of that. And that's cool too. For you, you got to figure that out and how to balance that out. You don't want to be too isolated, but you don't want to be. So I know that's kind of it's no clear answer to that. And I think it's going to have to go back and forth. That's something you're going to have to figure out and pay attention to.
I have, let's see, it's kind of a not complicated question. Well, in any case, Ring System wants to record a gamelan, a instrument. It's from classical music of Indonesia, kind of like a large metal xylophone-like instrument. It's got a richly textured top end. Wants to try to make a studio quality recording of it that doesn't just use stereo room mics. But there's going to be a lot of other instruments too. So they're thinking maybe 57s are just going to be the way to go for budget reasons, but also thinking about SM7Bs or some other form of ribbon mic. So, do you have any thoughts on what they should do for something like that?
Well, I mean, how does, let me look it up. Hold on. I'm pulling up Chrome here. I just want to look this up. What is it called again?
Gamelan. Gamelan.
ELAN. Oh, wait a sec. You know what this is? Oh, I think I've actually recorded this. I think it's, oh no, he says metal. Oh. Wow. Hold on.
Are you going to show us? There we go.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, whoa, what's this? I don't know if that's it. Oh, wait. He said like a xylophone, but these things are round. Wow, that's kind of interesting looking. Well, here's one. Look at that.
That is cool looking.
Now when you record it, I mean, I'm assuming you're not recording it in the same room with other people. Is it going to be like an overdub? Or are you trying to do it? Are they hitting them with they're hitting them with mallets? It's a pretty interesting looking thing. I would say, you know what I do when I'm recording something and I'm not really familiar with it, and I'm not sure. My theory is it's best to overdo it and be on the safe side. Like record it with extra mics, so then later on you go like, oh, actually that was a better idea. I would say, oh, Mark, did you not see it? Here, here's one. Can you see that? Like I would probably try to over mic it and put it on separate tracks if possible.
Says all live at once.
Oh. Make sure to try. This is something that you're going to need to make sure you're isolating. Get some gobos and put them around it. And I would still over mic it. Hey, I'm wondering about like maybe a contact mic. If there's it's probably not going to be the best sound, but it might be something that could enhance the mics. Like let's see, these pictures aren't great, but like here, for instance, let me go open image and tab. Let's make this bigger. Like I guess that's a version of one. Like maybe if you had a contact mic that you could put on like the frame, right? That might help. And then having some mics as well. It would be one of those things. I would just try to cover my bases and try a bunch of different things, and I would make sure to put gobos around it. As far as the kind of mic, I mean, a 57 could work. Maybe try a condenser as well, like a small diaphragm condenser or something. Like maybe even, I don't know. I would have to experiment, and I would just say, overdo it. That's all I can say. It's the best advice I can say is overdo it, and then just have the extra stuff.
We have a couple questions here. The eternal question about DAWs. I see people say about DAWs like this one's better for mixing or this one's better for mastering or recording. Does it really matter? I dabble with Studio One a bit at the moment. And then I think there was another question where somebody said that, somebody else is saying they work on Studio One. They've produced some music there for 13 years now. Oh, that's a response to the initial question.
Okay.
And I'll just go ahead and throw this out there because this comes up almost every Q&A live stream. And pretty much the answer is the best DAW is the one that you're familiar with.
Yeah. In Atlanta, I don't know how it is now, but back when I was working on a lot of rap music, it was crazy how many people... Sorry, I got to check my messages because there's some things going on. No, we're good. A lot of people were using Logic. I mean, Logic actually sounds great. It's got amazing plugins, built-in plugins. I tried it, and I hated it. I hated the workflow. But I'd see all these other people making hit records using that stuff. It's like, eh. And then I saw Ableton, and I always thought it was just kind of like, almost like a toy. And then I had a friend who produces, and his stuff just sounded amazing. So I got into it, and I actually love Ableton. I'm really experienced at Pro Tools. Pro Tools is I think for me, mixing a live band, if you're doing like live music, like bands and stuff like that, so far I've found Pro Tools to be the best because Pro Tools is kind of set up more like a traditional, recording environment. Just like the way, if you think about mixers and tape machines and all that, there's a little bit more of that theory built into it, or that thought process and workflow. But at the end of the day, it's kind of what you like. I do know a lot of people that do bands and they like Reaper, and I've dabbled in it, and it was like one of those things I just didn't have time to really dig in. So Reaper and Pro Tools seems to be something like I see most people doing bands. If you're doing more like tracks, man, it's just kind of down to, I don't think anyone's better than the other. Now, if you want to be a professional mixer and you want to mix for clients, maybe you want to get Pro Tools because it's such an industry standard. I just don't like the subscription model. I'm grandfathered in, so I get to pay a lot less because I've been using it since the late 90s. So yeah, Nasuda 9, you use Reaper. That's something I would really like to check out at some point. So, but hey, it's just whatever works for you. There's no rules. It's like I've actually mixed projects where some of the songs I did in Ableton and some I did in Pro Tools, and they're on the same album. And I defy you to figure out which ones I did in Ableton and Pro Tools. I actually will forget and then go, oh wait, I did that one in Ableton. At the end of the day, I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
Lo-Fi Joe says, I found that I set main mix effects, mainly mastering stuff, always set the same, and I just mix into that. Would you consider it as another proper approach?
Yeah. Hold on. Mark Hendrickson also said, Mix Bus by Harrison. That's another good one for more, traditional band kind of classic sounds. Yeah, I just totally spaced out. What was the question again? Oh, yes. Having like a mastering chain on your master bus and mixing into that. If you'd asked me that 10 years ago or more, I would have said, nah, it's a terrible idea. But I kind of do that myself. What I do, actually, I start without it. I have a really weird mixing process. I kind of have 3 masters. I have one for my instruments, one for my vocals, and then they both go into a main master. So I kind of have this flow where I don't have anything on my main master. On my instrument and vocal masters, I've got a very slight glue compressor. It's just barely hitting. But even then, I won't put that in right at first. I feel like I want to go through the sounds and kind of make sure I know what's going on before I start doing that. But I'm usually at least 40 to 50% way into the mix, I'm throwing on my quote unquote mastering stuff onto my master faders because that's going to be part of the sound. The trick is to make sure I have extra screens. I've got 4 set up here right now, but I always have those plugins constantly, no matter what I'm doing. Those plugins for the master faders are up on the screen, and I'm constantly watching that, because if you're not paying attention, you might be hitting the limiter really hard and you're not really realizing it and all that. So you just got to, it's going to be a constant adjustment on that. But there's nothing wrong with it.
So I think, why don't you use a digital controller with faders within your DAW?
I just never bought one. You know, I kept saying I wanted one, and then I got so used to just using the mouse. It's it's amazing how many professional mixers I know working on big records, like they just do the same thing as me. And now that I have like this analog mixer here, I'm just kind of using that. I miss having faders. I thought about getting one of the touch screen things, and I still think about that. I don't know. It's just maybe I'm just cheap. There's also the few I tried out, there seemed to be a little bit of a latency issue. I never found one that I tried out a couple of them, and it just never seemed like working on an analog mixer. So, let's see. There was something.
I think we're mostly caught up.
Oh, so Raul, are you talking about the new video? I'm kind of talking about the Fly on the Wall session that I put out. The Fly on the Wall session is like over 8 hours long. I did that on Saturday. And the one I put out today is a shorter, it's not necessarily about that session. It's kind of about some stuff that happened. So, yeah, nothing wrong with being cheap. Let me tell you, I am. And that's kind of what's kept me in the business a lot longer than some. Let's see.
How do you feel about MIDI drum libraries on songs? I record off an eKit and use some GGD libraries.
Do you mean like drum sounds? Like drum sound libraries or drum patterns? Because MIDI could mean either or both of those. Let me know. Just give me a little more detail, because there's a couple things, probably I'm not going to have a problem with it, but let's see. I'm just wondering a little bit how and why totally useless is the free Cakewalk. I've never worked in Cakewalk. I think they also make same company. They make I can never remember the name of it. Cakewalk. It's Steinberg. It's oh my God, I just went blank. I've never touched Cakewalk. Never looked in it. I guess there's something about the name too. Cakewalk. I don't know. Just how could I take that?
Nothing is a cakewalk.
It's kind of like Fruity Loop Studio, and I'm glad they changed the name to FL Studio. I just could not. Something called Fruity Loops. Sorry, I just had a problem with that.
Yes, the drum samples. I play the kit, but use their samples.
Oh, I mean, that's great. You know what? And actually, Kit, I got to remember this. I need to. I've already paid for it. I just got to upgrade my Adaptive Drums library. So Adaptive Drums is a plugin for having like a live drum kit and all that. But that thing, now it doesn't, to me, it's one of the least sounding live drum MIDI libraries out there. Like, oh, it's like, and there's ones that sound more like live drums to me. But as far as things that sound affected, Adaptive Drums is amazing. Addictive Drums. Is it Addictive Drums? I got the box.
I think it's Addictive Drums.
I think it's Addictive Drums. I love that because it kind of takes you out in these different areas. Not crazy about most of the kick sounds. Sometimes I'll use that for everything, and I'll use something else for the kicks, But, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's like, if you like it, then you like it. Of course, I'm always tweaking stuff out. And then what I'll do with those is I'll run them into my DAW, and then I mix them like I recorded them. I'm going to do some other stuff to them, That's just me. I'm always trying to, mix things up or, affect things and make them more unique. So I'm rarely using the sounds right out of the box. But, man, there's some great drum libraries out there.
Any beloved rack rompers or synths?
Well, I miss my old Juno 106. I will say that. I kind of destroyed it. It stopped working, and there was this video online about how to fix it, and I kind of botched it, and I pretty much destroyed it. We have a Juno DS here. It's sitting in the back room. Jimmy bought it for the Tokyo Teens gigs, and it's got some of those sounds on it. Programming on it is terrible, though. Like if you want to tweak anything else, but it's got great sounds on it. I'm actually not up on modern synths right now. Strangely enough, I'm on a new rig right now, and it's the least amount of instruments plugins I've had in literally 15 years or something like that. I need to update it. I've been trying to see how far I can get just using Lennar. What is Lennar is what is the name of that plugin? I use it all the time and I can't remember. Hold on. Lennar Digital. I'm terrible at remember. Hold on. I got to look this thing up real quick. I'm being an idiot here. It's oh my God, I use it all the time. Do I have it in Pro Tools? I may not have it in Pro Tools. It might just be a thing I use in Ableton. But yeah, I used to like Contact a lot, and then they kept changing their format, and I actually have supposedly a lifetime endorsement deal with them, and I got to call the guy up, but they keep changing it up, and I hate it now. But yeah, I'm in this weird place where I'm hardly using any software instruments at all. It's terrible. I feel like Contact had one of the best organ plugins ever made, the B4, and then they destroyed it and made it worse. Arturia is, so Gary Walker says Arturia is the if you want some great sounding synth plugins, Arturia, hands down. I forgot about that. Actually, a buddy of mine is letting me use one of his licenses, and I since I switched to the new computer months ago, I still got to put it on there. I'm just being, I don't know, I'm being stubborn about it. Arturia is great. Sylenth, that's the plugin I use by Lennar Digital. I use Sylenth a lot, and it's not that it's like mind-blowing. I can just usually it's easy for me to tweak out, and I can do some cool stuff with it. I like that one a lot.
Just thought I'd throw in that Brewer says, just popped in to say you're an absolute bloody legend from a NAF UK musician.
Thanks so much. Actually, I think, so I'm going to play a little clip of the new video that I just put out today. Let me get rid of this here. So this is just a little snippet of the video I totally flipped out during a live stream, and I'm just going to play a little section of it here. And when I say beginning, I mean people walking in and meeting for the first time, loading in the drums and setting up everybody else's gear, setting up all the mics, checking the recording levels. Let me hear the snare. Getting the sounds right.
Yeah.
Let me start with just drums and bass. Making sure that everybody's got good headphone mixes. Todd, are you hearing everything in there?
Yeah.
Going over the song and letting people work out their parts. Making sure we got the right tempo. Yeah, let's run it as it is now. And then going over the arrangement, which is how the song starts, which instruments are playing when they're not playing, and how we end the song. You need to be more sparse on the guitar when you first come in. Then we did our first take to make sure that the speed is right, that the parts are working out, that the headphone mixes are good, and just to see how everything feels. Yeah, just a bum, bum. Hey, Dave, come on down here. Let's just listen. And then we listened to the playback so we could hear what's working and what needs changing. And then we did another take with the new changes. Normally I would have done pre-production with everybody ahead of time to work out everything, but because of the schedules, this was the only day we could do it, which meant it was going to be a long day and a lot of work. At this point, we're about 3.5 hours into the session. But I find these kind of projects a test of my skills. Can I pull all these different players, the sound of their instruments, and their different skill levels together to create a cohesive sound? And can I keep the momentum going, which means keeping the vibe right in the studio, which is very important. We did a few more takes till I was happy with the drum part and the basic rhythm section, and then we moved on to the guitar solo, which the guitarist, Kai Burton, wanted to overdub later after he'd done his rhythm track. And it was at this point, about 5 hours into the live stream, that I actually looked at some of the comments from the viewers. And that's what set me off. Yeah, and I did get set off. And I don't show the whole flip out in the video because some of it got a little crazy, but you can get the gist of it there.
How do you feel about MIDI drum libraries on songs? I record off an eKit and use some GG. Oh, we already did that one.
No, we already did that.
Sorry. Always wonder how my favorite records have the B3 mixed so low and yet so audible. Is it just high passing? My Nord is always too up front or lost.
But for what? Was it...
They say they're always wondering how their favorite records have the B3 mixed so low and yet so audible.
with me, it's about panning. I also found like distortion, a little bit of distortion. One of the main things though for mixing is mid-range. And you're going to hear this answer over and over again from me, and that is that all the action is in the mid-range. Like different stereo systems are going to have a different amount of like low end and high end, but all systems are going to have mid-range. I mean, so what I'll do, and I do this with all instruments, is I'll go and I'll get a EQ and I'll sweep around, especially the organ. It's usually going to be in some lower mid-range. I couldn't say I don't know if it's 300 hertz or 800 hertz or whatever, depending on the organ. There's always going to be some kind of cool tone in there, and I'll kind of boost that up with a somewhat narrow bandwidth, and that helps. And I'll do that with guitars. And as you get into the higher mid-range, like from 1K up to 2K, if you're doing guitars or something like that, there's a world of difference between 1.3K and 1.7K if you're working with electric guitars or an electric guitar and acoustic guitar. But with the organ, I'm usually finding some lower, like what would normally be considered mud on any other sound often is great on an organ or a piano. So I'm using a little bit of distortion, and I'm also making sure to pan it. And I might do a little bit of high-pass filtering, not a lot, but I will take out some of the subs. And hold on. I want to say there was somebody that said they were talking about, Sean Coleman talking about the Freak Out video. And yeah, that, boy, there was so much I wanted to say about that because the comments that people were making. But I really feel strongly about this, and this kind of goes back to the question that somebody was saying about how much should I pay attention to outside projects or the media and all that. It's like, art and creativity do require a certain amount of isolation. It requires space. You need to be separate and not connected to the rest of the world and other people to create your own thing. So, when I'm working with people in the studio, that's why I was kind of weird about the whole Fly on the Wall live stream, is that I don't want anybody to feel self-conscious. I want people to be willing to make mistakes and try things, because that's where the stuff's really going to happen. Anyway, I could talk about that forever.
Hey, I just want to send out some love and congratulations to, it's Tylo, isn't it? Whose kitty cat just showed back up. Been missing. Is that right? Somebody's cat's been missing and they just showed back up. It's very exciting.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Tylo. Congratulations.
I'm glad your cat showed back up.
I'm curious if you have anything to share on plans for the future. That's from Raygun Radio Star.
Well, I think Everest is out. It's too crowded. Hey, I mean, seriously, it's too crowded up there.
It's too crowded and it's high impact.
You go up there. I don't want to stand in lines. I always wanted to climb Mount Everest, and so I'm not going to stand in a line. Okay, that's out. And I'm not going to be a tennis pro. Not that I ever gave a damn about it, but I'm pretty sure that's out at this point in time. But as far as plans for the future with the channel, oh man, I've probably got too much. I was actually
probably so many.
I got so many ideas, and it's been kind of something that's been kind of bothering me because things are great. I got to say, I'm over 75,000 subscribers on YouTube right now, and it's growing. It's been great considering where I was 3 or 4 months ago. It's all happened very quick, but the issue I'm having is I'm scrambling to kind of get everything ready for that, like setting up a Bandcamp, and I'm still dealing with some stuff with the whole music distribution thing, getting the Discord going, getting my schedule where I can even do all this. But to get to your answer, yes, some of the plans are, I definitely want to do another sample song contest. I think it's going to be a minute because that was actually a lot of work, and I still got to, send out
There's some things we'll need to fine tune.
Yeah, there's some things I want to fine tune. I had this idea of I had this one idea, maybe I record something and give out the stems and everybody can try their hand at mixing it, or maybe it's a remix thing. I don't know. I'm still throwing around ideas with that. I still have to do videos about the Vietnam tapes, and probably most of you don't know what I'm talking about, but my dad did 2 tours in Vietnam, and on the second one, he had a small reel-to-reel, teeny little reel-to-reel tape player, and he was making tapes and sending it to my mom, who also had a reel-to-reel machine, and my grandparents, his parents, had some, and I knew about them, and I had this real blurry memory as a kid of talking into the reel-to-reel because it had this little light that would do this weird thing. And I remember that. I found the box like about a year or so ago, and it's crazy. There are lots of these little teeny reel-to-reels, and the machine still works. The problem was that some of them were working on what they called half tracks, where you would have you'd have your reel and it would play, and you got to then you'd flip it over, and then you'd have the other side. So sometimes I'm hearing two things at the same time, one forward and one backwards. A long story. I talked about it a little bit. There's actually some amazing things. There's a story behind that whole thing, and I've gone through them all, and we've taken notes, and it's almost like a little documentary I want to do. And there's a bunch of interesting analog stuff along with it. I want to follow up on that. I have a reel-to-reel tape machine in the back that I started to make a video about and take apart to make a tape echo, and it's still sitting on the bench because something bad happened. That will be in the video. I have to go clean up, but the shop is a mess now. I almost abandoned that video, but I had some creative ways where I fixed it, and then some weird things happened. So it's sitting back there, and I was like, So that's going to happen. There's going to be more of my own music because I'm working on my album. I actually need to bring in some musicians to play on it. So there's going to be more live streams with musicians. I have too many. God, I've got all these ideas written down. I mean, it's almost too much. And it's one of these things where somebody made a comment on one of my YouTube videos like, oh, you're all over the map. I'm like, yeah. It's one of these things where I had a manager. It wasn't just him, but especially I had a producer, mixer manager, and he always said, you need to focus on one thing. You should either be a mixer or you should be a producer, or you should only mix rock, or you should only mix rap, or only produce this or only produce that. And it kind of made sense because if you specialize, it's easier to market. But thank God I didn't do that for a couple of reasons. One is nowadays you need to be able to do everything. And second off, I did mix exclusively, almost exclusively for 3 years. And I was about to blow my brains out at the end of it. It was driving me nuts. I like to do a lot of different things. But it bothered me because everybody's always like, you should specialize. Why are you doing too many things? What are you? Are you a mixer? Are you a producer? Are you an artist? Are you a writer? What are you? And it finally hit me after many, many, many years. And that is, I'm a wizard. Because a wizard doesn't need to stick to one thing. A wizard can just be in his magic room here, and I can just do whatever, which could also be a problem because I'm trying to do too many things. So
you have the hair for it.
I got the hair for it. I just need the wizard hat.
I'm sure this can be arranged.
Well, I need a wizard hat. But yes, there's a lot of things that are in the plans that are going to be planned, and just you got to stay tuned. It's going to take a while because I'm slow. I'm not like a lot of people. I mix slower. I produce slower. Everything is slower because
it's highly crafted.
Well, yeah, and I'm also obsessive about it. God, the video I did about hearing, if anybody saw the video about how we hear differently, which blew my mind. I knew what it was going to be about because I had this idea about it. And then I did this research and I made the video. And then in the comments, it actually opened up all these other thoughts and ideas about how we hear music, but also perceive reality. But it took me days to get the video done because there's all this research. We did this 3D brain thing and all that, and I kept screwing up all my lines. I couldn't even talk right. The night before I was going to put out the video, I hated the intro. It was like there's this 2.5 minute long intro on it, and I hated it. I went to bed like 3 or 4 in the morning, and it hit me while I was laying in bed what I needed to do the next morning, and it was on a day I was going to do a live stream. So I got up early and refilmed the whole. I had the shirt. I had to put the same shirt on, and it kind of smelled bad by that point.
Yeah, when y'all see Billy's videos on YouTube, there's a very good chance that whatever shirt he's wearing probably smells terrible.
Yeah, because it takes me. It's a long story, and
he saves it and puts it back on.
I just throw it down, and I was like, So I refilmed it, and I redid the intro, and it was way better. But I'm just obsessive. It takes me a long time because I want it to be the best. I know what I want. You know, people often say, "How do you know when something's done?" And I can't say anything's ever completely done, but I know it. I know at a point where I'm like, okay, I'm good at letting it go. I'm good enough to let it go, but it takes a long time for me to get there because I'm insanely obsessed with certain kind of details, and it's not the kind of details that you would think. People think it might be details like, oh, how I EQ'd the snare drum or whatever. A lot of it's about the flow, like editing and emotion. Like with my videos, I could say a line perfectly, but if I feel like I didn't deliver it like sincerely, if the vibe's not right, I don't want to just be reading something. I've stopped making scripts because I can't remember them. I'm kind of like just winging it now. But and it's the same with music. It's not going to go out until I think the feel is right. So anyway.
Oh, do you have any tips on drum kit setup to have the most pieces in phase?
Well, obviously, if you have two mics, a mic on top of a drum and a bottom one should be out of phase or out of polarity, opposite polarity of the other one. A lot of it's just experimenting. Like when I'm tracking drums, I'll make sure the kick and snare sound good together, and then I bring the overheads in, and I just sit here with the mic pre and flip the polarity, and I should notice a big difference. If I don't, I go and move them up and down a little bit. Here's the thing, though. Toms, oh my God, toms will really screw up your kit. I mean, I'm usually kind of gating them anyway, but what I'll do is I'll get a tom sound, and then I have the kick and snare with the overheads playing. I'll have the drummer play the drums with, say, just the mounted tom on, and I'm not having him play the tom. I'm actually I'm listening to the rest of the kit to see if it's making the kick drum sound weaker. I've noticed that a couple times, like, oh God, and you're like, oh, that's just having the tom mic on is making the kit sound like it has less low end because there's something about where it's set. So I flip it so the kit sounds good, and then I listen to this tom and hope it sounds good. And then sometimes you got to jiggle things around, but it's really just trial and error. With room mics, it's not such a big deal because some of my room mics are like 20 feet away from the drums. And then later on, if I realize I made a mistake, if I have to, I'll just nudge the tracks. I was like, I didn't nail it. It's not the same, but if that's what I got to do, that's what I got to do.
Just an aside, what is it? Cross Contami. They said they've seen somebody share your audio video, the hearing video, on a Facebook music theory group. Is that the video you're talking about? Hey, if you could shoot us a link or something, you can either find us on Discord or shoot an email to contact billyhume@gmail.com.
Yeah.
We'd love to check that out. So back to questions. Oh, did you cover this? You said in the past you don't like to have a paid version of stuff. Can you elaborate on that? Because that would mean a free version, but those have serious limitations.
Well, I'm going to swing back to that. I want to say something here that Saxon 7. He says, Billy, in 2 years, interviewing the biggies. I'll get Sting for you. Okay, so that's actually something. Kit's over there laughing.
We've talked about.
We talk about this all the time. People are like, oh, you should interview people. When I started this channel, I was interviewing people. And it was like mostly my friends like Bone Crusher and Collie Park. And some of them are famous engineers and mixers and all that. And I always thought, I'm going to be a great interviewer. And I never actually...
oh, man. Thank you, Beardy Face.
Thanks, Beardy Face. I'll get to that in a second. So I looking back at the interview videos after I was making videos for, I realized they all sucked, and I suddenly realized part of the problem is like I have bad concentration, and I have a hard time focusing on what people are saying to me. So I'm only like absorbing about 50% of what anybody's saying to me at any time, right,
This
Kit?
would also be true if he had Sting in the studio or anybody.
Exactly. So Sting might be here, and I could ask him a question, and then he'd be talking, and I'd be thinking like, anything.
God only knows what you'd be thinking about.
I like the way leaves smell in autumn or something like that. Or it could be like something else. But more likely what I would be thinking is, I wonder how he would sound doing backup vocals in my song. That's what I'd be thinking. Or I'd be, it would be terrible. So I quit doing the interviews. But as I've thought about it more, I thought, yeah, I would like to bring some famous people in the studio. But unlike some people who are good at it and they ask stories and you hear them tell stories and all that, what's probably going to end up happening when I start bringing famous, once I get my numbers up, I plan to go get some great musicians out there. But instead of sitting around and asking them like, how did you figure out the chords to this song? Or how did look, we've all heard those records. What I want to be is like, hey, that's great. That's great, Sting. But listen, hey, could you sing on this song? Or if I've got like, you know, oh my God, Tony Royster Jr., who I've worked with before, and I'm eventually going to reach out. If I got Tony Royster Jr. here, if I can get him in here, because we've worked together before, it's not going to be like, Tony, like, can you tell me, like, he's got videos out there where he explains how he drums. I'm going to be more like, hey, I got drums set up. So could you put drums on this song for me? And the other thing I thought about is, like, wouldn't it be cool to get some famous musicians in here that are like maybe a jazz player and a heavy metal bassist and, you know, a rock drummer, I don't know, and get them together and say, okay, guys, I got 4 chords. What can we do with that?
Can you imagine how cool this would be?
Man, if I had George Benson, and I love that Rick Beato interviewed George Benson. Love George Benson. But if I had George Benson here, I'd be like, oh, that's cool, man. Hey, can I get you to scat on this song? Do, 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 do. So that's kind of, if that happens, that's more than likely what's going to end up happening. I'm going to warn them in advance. I don't want them looking at me like,
And
anyway.
to be fair, I mean, Rick's videos are great. I mean, the interviews that he does. So, I mean, that's done. That's covered.
Okay, I need to answer
cool.
this question
Yeah, you do.
from Beardy Face. He says, how to mix really wide stereo soundstage field, for example, like songs Show Me How to Live, Audio Slave, after the intro, and Turn Away Back.
Oh, I got to try to remember those songs.
Hold on. I mean, I'm, you know, how to mix really wide. Hold on. I have to pull them up now. I'm trying to remember how they go. Hold on. I'm just going to have to do it on YouTube. What is it? It's one was Show Me How to Live. Show Me How to Live. Audio Slave. Let's see. Hold on. I hope this is not. Oh, this is gonna need. You know what? This is gonna need to demonetize my dang video. All right, I might have to come back and cut this out later.
Yeah, we may have to cut these out.
This radio station was named.
Oh, I got to turn my speakers on.
In honor of the last American.
All I just from what I've heard right there, it sounds mono as hell to me. So it's probably YouTube. It's actually the official video. Sounds really mono to me right now, the way I'm hearing it. God, it might be YouTube. And the other one was Turn Away Back. I mean, I can't. I've got a couple things to say, but hold on. Back. Oh. Oh, I hear it in there. Okay, I remember this now. So it's you. It's some of this is probably going to be a combination of 2 things. One is it's definitely like the Audio Slave stuff. They're probably using like a lot of room mics on the drums and stuff like that, and they've probably got them hard panned, and that's going to make it sound wide right away with that Beck stuff. I just think there's instruments really hard panned. I mixed a song years ago called "Hero" by Nas. It's a long time ago, and it just I remember Polo had these cool synth sounds in it, and I really like hard panning. And after it came out, it was on the Billboard charts for like a week, but everybody, you know, it's something that people talked about a lot. And there was some discussion group somewhere online, and they were talking about it. A friend of mine hit me up and said, hey, they were talking about your mix on this discussion group. So I'll go over there, and everybody's like, how did he get it to sound so wide? And then there was all these people with these answers, like, oh, he's using the stereo widening plugin, and he's doing this and all that. And I'm reading them, I was like, I didn't do any of that. You know what I did? I just panned everything really wide. I mean, you know, that's it. I just panned everything super really wide. That's a simple answer for a lot of this stuff. The other thing is like on the Beck stuff, I hear some hard panned acoustic guitars. And I do that all the time, but sometimes I change the EQ a little bit. Also, they're not accurate, meaning it's not all quantized perfectly where people are going to get everything perfect. You can hear where like there's a little bit of flamming going on there, which is going to make it sound wider. I don't actually, me personally, I don't do a lot of stereo trickery. I do want to get more into mid-side recording. I've messed around a little bit, and I've kind of got more interested in it lately. I want to dig into that a little bit more. But with me, a lot of it is just I literally, like on my drum overheads, I do spaced overheads, not XY. They just sound wider to me. I really hard pan things really wide, and I use a lot of room sounds. As far as like Audio Slave and all that stuff, that they're just really doing a lot of wide panning. Sometimes it's just as simple as that. I don't think there's necessarily a lot, and probably, especially them, I seriously doubt. I think did Brendan O'Brien do that stuff? He ain't using widening plugins. Come on, man. Like, he's doing it all old school. So that's just about taking the knob and just panning it wide for the most part. Okay, hold on. Lisa Chase Wolf said, question. I'm wondering what Billy's thoughts are on how mixing and mastering have almost merged into a single art, and if that's a consequence of analog to digital transition, workflow tools becoming more available, intuitive, the explosion of effects and focus on texture of sounds that meant mixers and mastering techs need the same tool set or something else, including all the combined. It's interesting because I was actually having a discussion with Justin Mullinix yesterday about this, who is in
Risky Biscuit Band,
also
known as Sky Magnet Music.
And he was here helping me on the stream we did on, I think that was Saturday. Whenever we did the live drum thing. It's all blurring together now.
Saturday.
Yeah.
We did. No. Yes.
Yeah, that was last Wednesday, actually.
No, the live drum video was about miking and stuff was Wednesday.
So he was here on that.
Fly on the Wall was Saturday.
He's learning how to master, and he's working with a guy who's like a very, successful, established mastering guy. And we were talking about this. There are a lot of mastering techniques that I just don't know anything about. I tried to get into mastering, and I sucked at it, and I think there's a different kind of headspace towards it. However, when I'm mixing, I am doing some stuff that a mastering guy is going to do, and I'm doing it on my master fader. And to me, I think it happened because when I used to mix back in the day, I never put really anything on the master fader. I had this, I used this TC Electronics plugin called Master X, and I had a limiter on it, and I barely hit it and made it a little bit louder. But over the years, my clients expected things to sound really loud, and I started doing it because and then I kind of got into it. It's like, well, I kind of like this. It gets me a little closer to what it's going to sound like, and I've got like more glue compression and stuff going on, and it's kind of evolved more. But there's a lot more to it than that. A lot of times, because I mix very wide, I don't necessarily need a mastering guy to go there and do more of that. But I think the main reason it's happened is because of what clients expect. Also because people are doing more, they're multitasking, they're engineering, they're producing, they're mixing, and it just seems natural to go into mastering. But I got to tell you, there's nothing, in my opinion, that's going to replace right now a really great mastering engineer. I use Glenn Schick a lot, and I like Glenn because he's got his own thing. He's also one of the few guys that will tweak stuff out and work with me on it, but he's also literally the only mastering engineer I know that'll be completely honest with me. So, I'll send stuff to other mastering guys, and I'll be like, hey, what do you think? Is there anything could be better? And usually like, it's great. I'm like, okay, I sure appreciate that you like it. It's all right if you say something negative. Glenn will be like, because Glenn has terrible bedside manner, so he's like, just saying, he's being really honest, and he'll be like, I don't know, I thought there was some distortion, and he'll just tell me something. I'm like, God dang, dude, but he's being honest with me. And sometimes I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't think about that. And then sometimes like, oh no, it's all right, Glenn, I kind of wanted that sound in there. I remember one time I did something, and I was at Tree Sound, and it was like room mics, and I was using some old DBX compressors, and I think it was the left side had a very slight amount of distortion on it. I thought, oh, it's all right, it's cool. It's like, it's kind of a rough thing that we're doing. It's cool if it's a little distorted. And I didn't think anybody would super notice. And I swear, I sent him the master, and he hits me and goes, there's just distortion in the left channel. I'm like, oh my God, he heard it in there. I'm like, it's all right. It's the room mics. It's totally cool. And he's like, okay, I just want to make sure. I just heard it every once in a while. So, but yeah, I think, Lisa, that it's kind of like just the evolution of stuff. I never did that stuff. So And I think sometimes it's a bad idea. Some people should not be doing so much of that stuff. I think people are putting those plugins on their master channels and relying on them too much too early in the process.
And then back, you said in the past you don't like to have a paid version of stuff. Can you elaborate on that? Because that would mean a free version, but they have limitations.
Did I say that? I don't want a paid version of something?
Yeah, I don't recall that. I know that.
I think I
you
might have just
often
been saying
feel
I'm
like-
cheap.
Yeah, and I mean, because also a lot of the time you're using stock plugins. So that might be kind of stem from that, where you were talking about that.
I think what I might have been talking about is I hate subscriptions.
Yeah.
And I'm not paying for any, but because I'm a known mixer and producer in the channel, I get manufacturers, and I probably shouldn't mention any names, but they say, oh, we're going to give you these plugins. Can you put them in a video? I'm like, sure. And then I do it, and then they take the damn thing away. And I'm like, fuck, I thought I could keep these for a while, right? Hell, the amount of time I spent making that damn video, I would have been better off paying for the subscription. But it's also that even things that I did pay for, if there weren't subscriptions, and then you upgrade your computer, and then they don't work the same way and all that. I don't know. I've been leaning more towards stock plugins. There's a couple I do want to pay for because they're great. I had a pirated version. I didn't feel right about it. One of the reasons I don't have stuff on my computer is I had some pirated versions, and I just don't feel right about that because I had gone for years and years and years and years and didn't use anything pirated. I paid for everything, and then I got lazy and I had somebody upgrade my last computer, and they put some plugins on there, and I was like, cool. And are these all right? He's like, sure. And then later on, I figured out, oh, I guess they're pirated. So yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. But no, it's not that I don't mind paying for, I don't want to pay for things. It's just I'm trying to avoid subscriptions.
Nikki asked, when recording percussion instruments, should you create a dedicated percussion bus instead of routing it to the drums bus?
Do you mean recording or mixing?
They said recording, but Nikki, do you mean recording percussion instruments or mixing them?
Yeah, because when it comes to mixing, I'm going to mix the percussion separately. Like if I have a drum kit and somebody's playing tambourine or, whatever, it's going to be on its own bus. Or I don't actually do a ton of buses. I'll have, like, with live drums, I'll have a drum bus. Maybe if I'm multi-micing an acoustic guitar, I might have a bus there. I don't actually, if I have like group vocals, a bunch of vocals all chanting or singing together, I might there, but I don't actually use buses that much. But mainly I keep percussion separate from the live drums on separate tracks and on separate buses.
Scott Place says, I'm using a Shure SM7B going into an SSL2 and using Reason. My mic volume has to be cranked to get proper levels. Do you recommend buying a preamp plugin, or what entry-level preamp hardware would be best?
You're not using a plugin. Or you're not using a real pre. I like this mic here, this is I'm using a Electro Voice RE20 here. And you'll see this used a lot, as well as the SM7 for this sort of thing. Like, YouTube videos and all that, but they're good for singing as well. But they're low-level mics. Like right now, I have this. Hold on, let me try this. I might as well try this now. And bring out my little rig here. Hold on. Oh, where is it?
I've had 2 folks mention Cloud Lifter.
Yeah, I was going to get to that. I'm getting there. So my RE20 is going into this API mic pre. Oh yeah, there's my lunch, by the way. I wasn't able to eat before the stream. Sorry about that. It's quiet. Look, I've got the gain almost all the way up. It's a quiet mic, so this is not uncommon. Even with a hardware mic pre, you're gonna have to crank the hell out of it, right? And the SM7, I can't show that. Kit's on an SM7 right now, and it's coming into this board right here, my Ghost, and I've got the gain up. The SM7's really quiet. I'm having some noise issues. Oops. I'm having some noise issues with this thing, and it might be some other stuff. But that brings me to the Cloud Lifter. I keep saying I'm going to buy one. I would actually like to hear from somebody because Cloud Lifter, I first heard about them for use with ribbon mics, right? Because they're quieter and same sort of thing and all that, and it's supposed to be a better sound. But then I found out, well, Cloud Lifters are good for these kind of mics to kind of boost the signal up. No experience in them whatsoever. Never even tried one. And I've been to studios where they have one. I just keep forgetting to use them. ME Studio. So yeah, the SL2. Yeah, I could see that being a little noisy. Probably the interface is going to be a little noisier. You might want to get a good mic pre. My issue, and what's hard for me to answer you, is that with this mic, and I do think there's some wiring issues here right now in the studio. And actually, let me come back to this. Because when I put this in here, dude, I've been running so crazy lately, like so much work and so many things have been going on that I got to go back and check on my wiring. So it's like this, whoops. So my RE20 sounds really clean on here, right? I was, for the longest time, using it over here on this, these Cappy mics. I actually prefer the sound of the RE20 and the Cappy mic pre's right here. But I'm getting a small buzzing sound because I'm cranking it up so much. I have to crank it like the bottom knob here has to be at 100% and the gain has to be at 2 o'clock to get a level. I think I'm having some issues. I got to go and recheck on my wiring. I think I screwed. It's very quiet, but it's in there. It's bugging me. But the point is, these mics are going to require a ton of gain. They're just really quiet mics. I don't know the specifics about a Cloud Lifter. Like, are they able to boost the gain quieter? I don't know. I actually want to find out because I've kind of fallen in love with this mic, and I don't actually own any ribbons, but I'm going to be getting some at some point here soon. But bottom line is, it's not unnormal to crank up for an SM7B. You're going to be cranking that up. So there's no, I wouldn't do it with a plug-in. I mean, I think because it might be cleaner, but you're still going to be dealing with your USB interface. I would suggest getting a good mic pre. As to which one you could get, the APIs are insanely expensive. Cappies are kits, and they're great.
Yeah, MEI Studio just said, are those AML pre's? Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Colin is an awesome dude.
Oh, hold on. So this right here, yeah, he's talking about, hold on. He's talking about these. These are Neve 1073 clones. And I think I paid maybe $900 each for these or whatever. They're handmade in England. These rock. To me, these are the best sounding 1073 clones I've ever worked on. Just phenomenal. I can't recommend them enough. Now it's not what I would say a clean sound. It gets cushy and crunchy and fuzzy in a great, wonderful way. I would not use this for an RE20. I'm already going to get enough grit from that as is. So I'm not talking about the RE20 or the SM7B, not for this. This would be like for guitars, acoustic guitars, sometimes vocals, room mics, things like that. If it were me, as far as like the whole RE20 thing is concerned, I'd look for something cleaner. But it's going to have to be loud. Oh, hold on. It's going to have to be loud.
Had a few people mention FET heads, recommending those.
Yeah. So hey, I'm hoping somebody else does. Anybody here, Mark? You seem like you've been around for a while. Do you use cloud? Does anybody here use Cloud Lifters? I don't know anything about them. I know what they're supposed to do.
Yes, several people have been talking about the Cloud Lifters.
Oh, I have a Cloud Lifter. I have a Cloud Lifter, just a JFET booster. Yeah, it's something I need to get. Yeah. I was also thinking about making, somebody was asking about plans in the future. I'm going to be making things too. I want to make some instruments. I want to see if I can repair an instrument. I've got a string, my Quattro, which is a Puerto Rican string instrument. It kind of warped. It was cheap. I'm going to see if I can fix that. I was thinking about trying to make a ribbon mic in a video. That's another thing for the plans for the future. Even if it sounds like crap, I still want to try it anyway. Volt preamps.
So should I jump to the next?
Built-in compressor. Hold on. I'll keep going. I'm going to look something up. She said Volt Volt.
Do you have Linux-compatible VST instrument suggestions? I mean, you don't really use much Linux, do you?
No, Linux is an operating
I
system.
know.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not like I'm going to use much of it. It's like Mac, PC, and
Yeah, I know.
Linux. I have no idea. I've heard of people using those, but I don't. I literally don't know anything about that. Yeah.
How about running guitar pedals in parallel? Is that a full question, or I made note of it, but
So most people, when they're running guitar pedals, you plug into one pedal, that plugs into another pedal, and then that goes in. So they're all in a chain. That's how I've always done it. The guy that was here with John Clark for the live stream with the band, the Fly on the Wall, his pedal board was amazing. He had this whole switcher thing, and he could run them in parallel. To be honest with you, I have no idea. I mean, I'm sure it's a good idea. I don't really know anything about it. Like I don't know. It's just one of those things. Is like, if you like it, you like it. I couldn't say why one would be better. Never done it. If it sounds good, it sounds good. You gotta understand. There are so many things I've done when I'm mixing or producing and all that are mistakes, or like, I'll give you a great example. I interviewed Brendan O'Brien years ago for the Grammys. It was a private event. And there are all these rumors around Atlanta, and Brendan O'Brien, for anyone who doesn't know, he did like Stone Temple Pilots and Train and Bruce Spring. I mean, huge records, and he's a genius, engineer, mixer, producer. But there are all these legends. Oh, he uses 10-year-old bass strings, and he uses this particular amp and uses his mic. So I was kind of curious, the Grammy people had given this list of questions, which I chunked. I thought they were stupid. I had my own questions. So I was like, hey, Brendan, do you use 10-year-old bass strings? He's like, what? It's like, no. I mean, I might keep them on there a couple months, but why would I have 10-year-old bass? It's stupid. But I said, what is your favorite guitar amp? And he's like, the one that's hooked up. I was like, oh, well, what's your favorite guitar mic? He's like, the one that's hooked up. It's like, they just want to get the work done. And to me, it's kind of like, yeah, I'm going to get into tweaking out things, and you'll see me do that a lot. But at a certain point, I don't know. I'll give you another example. If you watch my video, my secret unique production techniques, or my unique secret production techniques, and
unique, I think
it's kind of what led to the whole sample song contest. I had said in another video that, because some people are like, oh, easy to do when you got all that gear in your basement. And I was like, yeah, but I bet you I could do something cool with just some 57s. So in that video, I sample a bunch of sounds. And I used this mic on a couple of them, but mostly I used a 57. I did all these things with the Nessa, and I didn't even use any external mic pre's. I just plugged it straight into the Universal Audio mic pre interface, and I didn't even use any mic pre software. I just used their Unison or whatever is built. It's just the thing. It's just like you plug the mic in and you turn the volume up. It sounded great, and it was kind of like, sometimes I'm going to use these AML mic pre's, these Neve clones and all that, for very specific things. But sometimes I just want to get something done. I'm like, I mean, I've used this a couple times because I just need to get an idea down, and then it was like, oh, I like it. I'll just go with that,
How many headphone mixes are you able to disperse from your setup?
Well, theoretically, I should be able to do 4 right now. But it's not an easy system. When I was at my old studio, The Zone, that I had for years in Norcross, I could get a drum kit set up and 3 headphone mixes in literally like 20, 30 minutes from the drum. As soon as the drummer's got his drum set up, like I was ready to go. I had that system down. Here, I'm still developing it. It's getting there. It's getting there. But I can do about 3 or 4. It's not easy. What I'd really like is what they use at Blackbird. And speaking of that, I want to show you something here because it's actually kind of interesting. I'm going to show you a clip from my new video that I just put out called I Totally Freaked Out During a Live Stream. It actually has something to do with your question there, but it's also the video that I just put out today. So I'm gonna show that.
Make sure to hit like on this video and then go over and watch this new video.
Yeah, please watch this new video. Get me some views and trigger the algorithm.
Share it.
But anyway, I'm going to play this little clip here from the new video. There's a lot of ways to make a record. Like a band that has done hundreds, if not thousands of shows together, playing traditional acoustic instruments only. And you're gonna record them live, all together at the same time, and they're gonna nail it in a couple of takes because they're some of the most accomplished improvisational musicians around, and they've been practicing these songs for weeks. Or a rock band in a home studio that is also gonna record live and get it in 1 or 2 takes, but are not focused on pristine performances and sounds as much as raw power and emotion. Or 2 serious singer-songwriters recording with a no-frills setup in a cabin in the woods because they want privacy and intimacy for their finely crafted tunes. And sometimes it's just about making it up on the spot and having fun. Or you might record by yourself, layering one instrument after another, working all day and night till you get it done. There's also those projects with artists that defy definition and have their own unique way of doing things.
Of all these chickens.
But on the other hand, some records are made in big budget studios where there's not a lot of room for mistakes. It's very competitive. And everybody adheres to a process and a system that's been around for decades. It is its own world. So that's from the new video. Please go watch it and like it. So there's, and let me go back. So somebody was saying about headphone mixes. So some of this is from when I was working at Blackbird. I was up there doing a lot of sessions. This shot right here, you got to check this out. Okay, so this is, God, I can't remember. Is it Dan Dugmore or Doug Danmore? I think it's Dan Dugmore. The guy playing lap steel here, who is a legend, a legend, super nice guy. I want you to look behind him here. So look at this shot here. You see, let's see if I can get it clear. It's kind of blurry. Okay, right here. Whoops. Okay. You see how there's like a 16-channel Mackie mixer here? You see that? That's his headphone mixer. That's Blackbird is one of the most best equipped, best run, coolest studios I've ever worked in. You know, you go to some studios and they have like the little, you got 4 channels or whatever, and it runs on an Ethernet thing, and you can kind of do the mix and all that. At Blackbird, each person has their own 16-channel mixer, and there's these massive snakes going out to each person, and it's on this roll-around stand, and there's like some of them, I think this one actually has a music stand built into it, so you can have this stand with a 16-channel mixer so you can mix your own headphone mix with a music stand and like a drink holder or something crazy like that. Now, if I had my way, that's what I would have. Each person would have this crazy mixer setup. So I just had to show that because Blackbird is like one of the most amazing studio. I mean, look at this. I mean...
Oh, I'm throwing a link up.
Yeah, this is like, so this right here, this is me working in the A room, and this is their Neve... I can't remember. It's like a 1081 or something like that, generally speaking. But the particular model of it is like a one of a kind. It's similar. Is it similar to the one that Dave Grohl has or something like that? He was telling me the whole history of it. This board is amazing. And then they had like, if I've got a picture, I don't have it handy right now, or I might. They have a really massive API console. It's like the biggest API console east of the Mississippi. And I actually did a session where I used every channel on it because we were recording a band. It was like we were doing some wacky stuff. I kind of figured like, look, we had the budget and they've got the best interns and assistant engineers in the world that if I say I need 2 more sets of stereo room mics, they're set up and ready to go before I can even take a sip of coffee. So I was like, oh, what the hell? So I actually did this one thing where we mic'd up. I think I had like 36 mics on the drums. Why not? You know, because I figured like, when else am I going to get a chance to try out all these? I mean, I didn't use most of them, But it's like, I'm going to go home and mix it. And I was like, well, let me try these room mics. Why not? You know, they set them up and they got like insane amounts of inputs on Pro Tools. But we were also recording guitar amps, and they had this whole switcher box. So I was like recording like 12 guitar amps with multiple mics on them simultaneously. And the owner came in and was just laughing about it, and he was kind of into it, like, let's hook up some more stuff. But anyway, this studio also has, let's see what else is cool. This is Scott Meter. He's actually from Atlanta. Great drummer, and as you can see, there's a quick shot. It's kind of in this. You can see I had a few. You don't really see all the room mics in here, but you can see he's got it. Look behind him there. He's got this. Hold on, I'm not showing it. Okay, check this out. Look behind him here. He's got one of those 16-channel mixers back there. Everybody had them. The people that are working on this session, these are legends here. Like, I wish I could remember this guy's name. He's a bass player, but he's played on a million hit records. But I mean, you know, God, what an amazing experience. And the cool thing about it is that that studio is kind of run like it's almost like a home studio. Like the vibe there is just cool as hell. Like there'd be times that I'd want to use some extra gear, and technically I'm supposed to pay rent, but the owner, John McBride, would be around. He'd be like, you need some more cymbals? And he'd drag everybody up to the drummer, and we'd come marching down with 20 cymbals that I'm supposed to be paying extra rent for, but they would not even mention it. So I can't say enough cool things about that place. Dan Dugmore. Yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Do you have recommendations for recording ASMR? I record on Sennheiser MKH50 for my voice and MKH60 for the object, usually a chessboard that I'm interacting with. I record into a Zoom H6. Do you think that's good enough?
What kind of mics again? Hold on, read that to me. Let me type it in here.
Sennheiser MKH50. And then also the MKH60.
Why didn't... Hold on. I'm typing something here. S-E-N-H-E-I...
Hey, welcome, Raiders.
Iser MK... What is it again?
I jumped over to
MK...
Twitch. Hang on. MKH50 and also...
MKH50. Oh.
Funky Void, thank you so much for the raid over on Twitch.
Thanks so much. And what was the other one?
Same, but 60 instead of 50. We're doing a Q&A over here at Billy's studio. This is Billy Hume. Check out his bio. We've got quite a list of questions about recording, mixing, studios, music industry, just any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, today's just Q&A because I did 4 streams that were like...
Yeah, we had some epic streams.
Today's a chill day. I'm just talking and hanging. Hold on, I'm going to look something up here. Crystal, say something very interesting.
Oh, something so interesting. I just wanted to tell everybody again, don't forget. And, oh, by the way, Twitch folks, we simul stream. So you'll hear us talking to people on YouTube as well as you guys over here on Twitch. So telling the people over on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button on the live stream. Don't forget, y'all, to watch Billy's latest YouTube video. I'll throw the link in the chat again. Share it, like it, help get the numbers up. Again, yes, well, Moon Motel Official. Billy does not these days work with a lot of rappers. Most of that work was done in the late 90s, mid to late 90s to the early 2000s. Billy was a huge part of the explosion of rap music down here around Atlanta, especially in the crunk scene. Had a lot of hit records, explosion of growth in the studio, and a lot of fun, and ended up mixing, a lot of rap music for almost a decade straight. So yes, he has a lot of that in his discography. Not so much doing some of that these days. Billy's really versatile. He moved on. He's done some big, he's worked with country artists. He ended up winning a Grammy with a bluegrass group, the infamous String Dusters. So, and he's worked with, singer-songwriters, heavy metal. I mean, just about any genre you can think of, and things that defy genres, he's probably worked with them. And thank you so much for the follow. And let's see, did I catch everybody? So feel free to hang around if you guys over on Twitch have any interest in like recording studio stuff. And then over there, yeah, everybody. Oh yeah, I was going to give you the link to the new video over on YouTube.
Yeah, everybody, please go watch that. While you're putting that link up, okay, I had to go find this. So somebody was asking about ASMR, and it's funny because those look like small diaphragm condensers. So I always thought ASMR was a bunch of crap, but then I started kind of getting into it, and I thought, oh, I'm going to start my own ASMR channel, which I've not started yet, but I've started making videos. So I made this. Now, this goes on for an hour and 23 minutes. Oh, this is the one that goes into dark. I think it gets dark because we raise bees.
Well, not right now.
Well, we'll get some new ones. But it's funny, you'll see them bumping into each other. And then I got this one. I got a bunch of bee videos. I am miking this with Josephson C42s. They're like Neumann KM184 copies. And it's interesting about a lot of small diaphragm condensers, I feel like pick up a lot of detail that somehow I don't get with a large diaphragm. Plus, it's easier to stick them down places. But I did all of those with those. So the point is, what you're talking about, I'm looking at these Sennheisers. They look pretty cool. Oh my God! I mean, these are not cheap mics either. I mean, these are probably great. These are probably great for, like, I'm looking at them right here, like, oh, thanks for the,
thank you, Divago.
And I'll come to your question in a minute. So I think these are great. I don't, did they say what kind of mic they were using for the ASMR stuff?
That's what you were just looking up.
Not the mic, I mean the mic pre's.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was using Cappies. I'm using my Cappies because I really like them, but, yeah, I think those are probably great mics.
They said they record into a Zoom H6.
Well, that I don't. A Zoom H6. I have a Zoom, but it's terrible. It's really old. H6. Oh, it's one of the good ones. I mean, this is like a Zoom H6 is probably fine. You know. Yeah. You're probably good. Like, I would suggest doing, 24-bit and do a higher sample rate, like at least 24-bit 48K if you want to go higher. But that probably sounds great. Just get I would make sure just get the mics kind of wide and pan them wide. Get a nice stereo sound on it. I would, was it a chessboard they're doing?
Dangerous DSAC says, if I spent that much on mics, I would use them.
Yeah, I would say I think you're probably good with those. Yeah, just get them wide. Okay, so Divgo Shomets.
He says, sorry for the hard to pronounce name. It's two names together.
Okay, so hold on. Let me hit the like, and thanks for that. Could you tell us more about the book from recent video where you talk about how we don't hear all the same? That is...
Oh, yeah, go get it. It's actually, I think you put it back in the bookshelf out there. I seem to remember. Yeah, I'll throw up a link to the video they're about to talk about. Billy did a video about, let's see, what was it called? Do we all hear music the same way?
Yeah, this is really... Hold on, I got to eat a bit of a cucumber here. Ow. I just bit my lip. How?
Billy.
I always forget to eat before the streams and I'm starving. So this is the book I was talking about. Lighting's not great. Oh, hold on, let me change. It's probably my computer screen here. Hold on, I've got all this white on the screen right here. Hold on, let me go. There we go. Musicophilia by Oliver Sacks. And if the video is about how we all hear things differently. And I made the video because I've often wondered why some people like certain types of music, but also why people don't like certain things. Like sometimes with bluegrass. I got a comment from somebody once that I brought out to a string duster show, and like the dobro was driving them crazy. And I've often thought that, maybe we're not hearing things the same way. And then Kit hears things. It's interesting because I talk about this in the video because Kit, my beautiful wife here, has got great input on music, is somebody I always ask their opinion about music and has really great insight into it. But yet if we're listening to a song and she tries to sing with it, she always sings the wrong melody.
I can hear the differences, but I can't reproduce them. And when I was in grade school and, I was in orchestra and play violin, I can't tune an instrument by ear. It's impossible. I can't do it.
Yeah, but yet she loves music and likes it. And it got me thinking, are people hearing things differently? So I started reading this book, and he talks about some interesting things. For instance, I've already forgotten all the terms, but there's the thing that I think Kit has here.
Yeah, I forgot what it's called.
Where amusia or something like that, basically tone deaf, what they call it. They may not be hearing the same pitches, where I might hear an octave and it's bum, bum, ba, bum, ba. People with that condition actually hear bum, ba, bum, ba. They don't hear the octave. Not everybody hears things the same way. And in this book, he talks about that. There's another condition where people don't hear tone. Now, in the video, I said timbre. I should have said timbre.
Yeah,
I'm an idiot.
You got
but anyway,
called out for that a bunch.
Yeah, it's the ability to hear like one instrument. Like you could hear 5 different instruments playing the same note, but you'd be able to say one's an acoustic guitar, one's a flute, one's a tuba. Some people can't. To them, music just sounds all jumbled up. There was another thing in here about tuning. I didn't put it in the video. He's got a lot of case studies in. Oh, and it goes on and on. It gets really, I barely scratched the surface. There's all these stories. One guy who was a composer and also directed orchestras. And I can't remember what exactly happened to him, but he started having this thing where any music he was listening to would sound in tune up until a certain range. As the notes got higher, they would get more and more out of tune. So each octave, everything sounded more out of tune, except for something like a D sharp would sound flat. And it was just like, it just kind of came out of nowhere. And he was still trying to write. He still had gigs and all that. It gets very complicated on how they solved the solution. It was never completely solved. And it was just like mind-blowing. Or how some people, the way the brain works is, there's a lot of things. Just the shape of your ears can change how sound is funneled into your ear canal, and the shape of your ear canal can accentuate certain frequencies more than others. Then it gets into your brain. It's not like there's just one place in your brain that, processes sound. Some parts are concentrated more on melodies. Some are more on rhythm. Some are focusing more on the lyrics. And also this whole thing. Now, somebody said this is old science, but I think it's true. And that's one ear's more focused on like logic and speech, and one's more on like melody and emotion. I was like, oh my God, it's crazy. And the thing that was mind blowing to me is, if you should go watch this video, right? Go look at my video. Are we all hearing the same thing? Look at the comments. Oh my God. It was like mind blowing. Like people telling me like, oh, I played a guitar. I was a guitar player. And then one day I'm watching TV and suddenly my ears went boom. And like this thing happened with his hearing, and it's never changed. And, I would like, if you're interested, like you should read this book. There's it's just like, there's so many crazy stories in here and different ways of how we hear sound. Point is, when we're listening to music, we're not all hearing the same thing. It's crazy. It's kind of like, it actually kind of made me feel a little bit better about this thing. Like over the years, I was like, yeah, I'm going to mix it. I'm going to engineer and I'm going to do my best. But I've been focusing more and more and more on just the emotion of something, the vibe of something. And now I'm like, well, good, because nobody's hearing the same thing anyway. But emotion, I think, is something, although, that's the other thing. A part of your brain is when you're listening to music has to do with how it connects emotion to the music. Some people have a condition where they can understand music, they can hear the pitches, they could play it. They just don't enjoy it. It doesn't bring them any joy because music brings me joy. I get emotional. There's certain songs that make me cry, and no matter how many times I hear it, I'm going to get teared up. So, but some people don't have that. I mean, isn't that crazy? So anyway, go watch the video and then look at the comments. It'll blow your mind. Yeah. So anyway, you said you want me to talk about the book, but you'd have to go read it. Let's see. Are there any other questions here?
I've got a bunch.
Oh, let's go.
We have one here. Can I achieve the subliminal B3 sound that I hear on Norah Jones, for example? Low volume, but clearly heard. Are they just using high-pass filters? I use a Nord Electro 5D.
Man, let me tell you something about organ sounds. And this is from working with some of the best in the business. An organ, like a Hammond organ, and for those of you who don't know, I don't know if I have a picture of one on the computer. Let me see if I can find one real quick. There's some of the most there's some of the most versatile instruments around, right? And hold on, let me look for an image here. Maybe no, not there. I don't know if I've got a good shot of like an organ. Nah. I just look for one online so I can demonstrate this to everybody. Okay, hold on. Okay. All righty. Let me see if I can find a good... Okay, this might work here. Oh, I need something a little closer in. Maybe that'll work. Hold on.
Well, since you're doing that, a couple of folks coming on saying they're new subscribers. Welcome. Thank you. And asking if we're going to do another song contest. We covered this a little bit earlier. But yes, we will do another song contest. That was so cool.
Yeah.
We have to recover from this one
to recover. And I've got to... We need to mail out the gifts tomorrow.
Yeah, we've still got to get
scheduled,
the CDs out.
Have we scheduled all the private Zoom meetings?
I think we have a first round scheduled for each of the first place winners.
Because I know Jan's been scheduled, and I saw the email, just hadn't been able to respond.
Oh yeah, and there's several other on the calendar.
Yeah.
But
there's going to be more. I hope everybody can be patient with me. It's not like I've got a team here. It's me and Kit. Sometimes Harper's here. Luckily, I can get Tap to come down and help with the thumbnails and titles, but that's
and Wizolfo occasionally.
Wizolfo helps run the cameras sometimes, but that's it. That's it. But let me show you this here. So on an organ. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. Oh, wait. Oh, here we go. Okay. So you see here, this row of sliders across the top here? These bring in different harmonics and frequencies. Like if you pull one up, it'll be like this. Like if maybe the fundamental note is like, boom, and you pull one of these drawbars out higher, you're going to get a little, and like way up there. And you can blend them. There's also like, oh my God, there's so much. There's distortion. If you watch a great organ player play the organ, while they're playing the organ, they're reaching out and grabbing these sliders. We had a bunch, when I was working at Blackbird, we had to hire this guy, Rami, God, I forget his last name. He played with Train or something like that, famous, well-known session player. And while he's playing, and it's leading up, he would like reach out and adjust these sliders and change the tone. And no performance is ever the same way twice. There's also distortion. You can control the distortion. And then all of that is going to a, oh my God, Hammond B3 into a, oh my God, hold on. I'm losing my mind. Leslie Cabinet. And I've actually got a video. Hey, where's the video? It's called, I just actually had it up here. It's put the link up. It's in the studio, Hammond B3 organ with Colin and Caroline. And
okay,
I actually,
I'll go find it.
Yeah, it's an older video. I did it years ago. So on this, so then the organ is run into one of these. And as you see, it looks like this big box right here. This is what, this is the amp, right? But here's what's inside. And it's interesting if you actually watch one of these in action. you've got, let me make this bigger. Oops, hold on. Make open. Why is it not, it's not letting me see that one bigger for some reason. Hold on, let me find another one. That's a good one, though. Oh, yeah, there's a good one. So let me open it up in a new window for some damn reason. Oh, it's a video. Hold on. Let me go down here. Maybe this one. That'll be a good one. Here we go. Okay. So then that goes into, there we go. Okay. This is what the inside of one of those cabinets will look like. And there's two main parts to it. At the top, you see these horns? These are spinning. This is more like mid-range and upper like frequencies. So as you're playing, that's spinning in a circle, right? So that's what's giving it that warbling sound. Down below, the low frequencies point down and it goes into the spinning drum thing, right? So you got one thing spinning on top and one at the bottom, and they can change speeds. One can be going at one speed, one can be going at the other. Well, I mean, there's a pedal that makes it go faster and slower, but the rate at which one speeds up and one slows down can change. It's one of the most amazing sounds ever. And when you mic it, you put, like the way I do it, is I'll put one mic up on this side pointing in through the grills. There's some grills here, and another mic over here. And then typically I'll put like a single mic, like an RE20 or something that's good for low end, down near the bottom. And I hard pan the top and keep the other one in the center. This gives you such a unique sound. So when people ask me about organs, I don't know how to answer because they can sound so different from each other. Like one, or like not different from me, just the same organ. Like depending on which of these keyboards you're playing on, the top one or the bottom, or these knobs. I mean, it gets so freaking deep. Yeah, I'm usually boosting some lower mids. There's usually a component of distortion in it. To me, a lot of it is the modulation, which when those things spin, you're getting a Doppler effect. It's basically like a modulation because as the speaker comes towards you, it's compressing the sound wave. It's slightly higher as it's going away from you. The sound waves get drawn out, so it's slightly lower pitch. But while that's happening, the other one's spinning towards you, so you get this beautiful effect. And, you know, when you talk about, like, why does Norah Jones sound that way? Well, whoever's playing on that is probably a freaking genius. And I used to have this, you know, back when Contact made the B4 plugin, it was the closest I could ever come to imitating this. But I could get it close to one particular sound, but great players are actually adjusting that stuff as they're going. There's a lot of also dynamics going on too. An organ, like when they play it, it's not like you hit the keys harder and they get louder or quieter. It's just kind of all the same, but they have volume pedals. So a good organ player, between sliding the sliders and all the different tones, and they're adjusting the volume and the speed of that thing, the volume's constantly going up and down. You know, they'll like going into a chorus, and then it kind of gets quieter. So when you're listening to these really good records, what's going on a lot of times is that the player is making a lot of little adjustments tone-wise, but also volume. They're writing the volume up and writing it down. And so what I did when I was, you know, when I'm working on an organ part, I will actually automate. Let me come back here. Oops. I will automate. Okay, so on most of these plugins, you can automate the speed of the horns and the bottom. And the cool thing about them is, like, you can say, okay, go to the fast mode, and it speeds up. But on some of the plugins, you can say, how fast does it speed up? Boom, and then you're the fast speed, and you hit the slow speed. How long does it take it to slow down? You can adjust it. I automate all of that. I go through the song and I got it speeding up, slowing down, speeding up, and doing stuff. Like when I do organ parts, I'm automating the hell out of that stuff. Like if you saw my automation lanes on an organ part, because I'm automating all these different things. That is kind of how you get it to stand out in the mix. Was that a good enough answer?
Says question answered. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I got to eat a cracker. Crystal, say something.
Well, I was going to offer you the next question I have here.
I'm just starving. Let me turn off my mic while I'm chewing.
Oh, no ASMR for that? On a bass drum, depending on the size, do you use a mic placed a few feet away from the bass drum to catch the low end? And I'm going to go grab a link to we just did a live stream Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where, no, it was Wednesday.
No, it was last Wednesday.
I keep getting it mixed up. Where Billy
it's
did
called,
a whole thing about live drums and miking live drums.
Yeah, just last Saturday with Dave Anthony. It's like, it's hours long.
Yeah.
Funny thing about that video is that I don't actually do that a lot, putting the mic out in front. He brought in a ribbon mic. I forget the name of it. And I had it up in the air like a mono room mic because I have a room upstairs, like my living room. So we did it up in the living room and I got like big ceilings. The low end on that ribbon mic was amazing. It was like almost like an 808.
Almost too much.
Oh, it was great. So we brought it down and moved it around. I ended up putting it out in front of the kick drum, like might have been like 5 feet. Normally, if I'm doing that sort of thing, it's a little bit closer. When I worked at Echo Mountain in Asheville, there's another video I did about recording a band there. You know, behind the scenes of recording a band or something.
I'll find that one too.
Yeah, it's got the picture of me sitting in the A room at the Neve, and you can see the board and the speakers, and you can kind of see into the room. I think I used a vintage Neumann U47 or something like that. Yeah, I do that with certain projects. I mean, I don't do it here because although in that room upstairs, now I'm using that room, that works good. I've never gotten a lot of success out of that in a smaller room. But if the drum room's kind of big, to me, it's not really about the low end so much, although that ribbon mic was. There's kind of some air, but phase is huge. Phase is massive. You got to really play around with that and make sure that the waveforms line up. What was the exact question, though? I kind of got off on ranting about that.
Yeah, my computer has decided that right now is a great time to freak out. Hold on, I can...
Your computer's
it
freaking
was
out?
On the bass drum, depending on the size, to use a mic placed a few feet away from the bass drum to catch the low end.
Oh, and the interesting thing was, it's not like he had a massive kick drum, that ribbon. It just sounded great. I mean, and it also depends, like, when I did the project, it was a band called the Hooplas at Echo Mountain. They just it's another one of those things where they got great engineers, and I was like, let's set up some extra mics. I was like, what the hell? Let's just set up a bunch of stuff. I can just turn them off if I don't want them, and it sounded great. The room sounds great. It's actually it's an old church. I love the acoustics in there, and Mark Hendrickson makes a really good point about the long waveform. You guys also got to realize, like, I like a kick drum mic inside the kick drum because it gets at attack, but it's never going to get the low end because low frequencies have really long waveforms. Like, if you get into some lower frequencies, the waveform is literally like 15 feet long. Like, literally. Like, it's the size of this freaking room. And you're not going to really capture all of that if you're inside the kick drum, but by getting a mic out front, and I think, now that I'm thinking about it, that probably has a lot to do with why that ribbon mic was just insane. Actually, I've got it here. Hold on. I just so happen to have.
And the answer to that is trial and error all the way. Billy did not go to school for any of this.
Oh, yeah. I just like messing around with stuff. Okay, hold on. Now, I think this is when we put the ribbon mic down. Yeah, here it is. Let me see. I got it here. Do I have any? Let me take the compressor off. I got a compressor. Okay. Oh, no.
Not your computer, too.
No, it's this stupid Pro Tools thing where it goes, what? At the most inconvenient times, it says something about my playback engine. I just have to restart it, and it takes forever. So, it's like, I'm all ready. I'm all ready to play this kick drum sound because it was from the session. I pulled it up because I knew we might talk about it, and like that's when Pro Tools goes, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, whatever, I just got to restart it and tell it to shut up. But yeah, Mark, these wavelengths are really, really long.
Let's see.
I'm going to get around to you, the mediocre musician. That's my name.
There was one, can you say a few words about the Alesis D4?
Oh, I love that thing. That's in that video where I kind of like was poking fun at Rick Beato. Hold on, let me find it.
I'd be throwing up links to all these videos, but my computer has decided it's going to move about as quickly as a glacier at this point. So
Did you try yelling at it?
No, because then everybody would get to hear.
Hold on. We're going to come back around to the ribbon mic. Hold on. I'm jumping all over the place as usual. Hold on.
Did we not finish with the ribbon mic?
No, I'm going to jump over this real quick.
Okay. Whoops.
Okay. So, here we go. This is the Alesis D4 right here. Let me see if I can get this down a little lower. Boom. This is a sound module that I got in the 80s. And it's actually in a video where I say, what is it there? Like, Rick got it wrong or something like that.
I'll have to.
I was just making fun of Rick because he said something in the video about making samples. And I thought it was, I guess I felt like maybe he was trying to insinuate that he had like, you know, he was a guy who like made these samples. But the truth is, when I started working with him back in the day, we were using this for drum samples. We weren't making samples. We didn't know how to make them. So this right here, oh yeah, it was actually given to me. I know some people say this is not good, but I got to tell you, there's some great drum sounds on here. And to this day, I actually ended up sampling all these. So if I need to layer a sample into a drum thing, I still come back to these samples. Like Chrome is one. And there was another one called, God, I can't remember the names now. I used to have all these memorized. If you can get your hand on one of these or get the sound library, these are really, really good. I can't say enough. And on the back, it's got like trigger inputs where you could actually trigger live. I mean, that's all I could say about it.
It's from 1991.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know what else I could say about it, but it sounds great. Okay, let's see if this works now. We're talking about the ribbon mic in the room, and I think this is where we had moved the ribbon mic out in front of the kick drum. Let me see. It didn't have as much low end, actually, as it did up in the air, but I liked the punch better. So it was this. Oh, let me turn off the thing. Oh, wait. That's just the ribbon mic right there. Just incredible. And actually, hold on. Hey, I'm gonna put on headphones. Actually, I don't.
I'm fine.
Okay, I didn't really hook any up. Let me do this so that I'm not gonna get sounds coming into the speakers here. Let me just play a little bit of this. So here is. I'm gonna. So. Whoops. I have it kind of. Here it is. Now here it is up there loud. And then without it. No, with it. But yeah, I mean, it's not just adding low end. It's adding low end and air. And that room up there is really big. So I guess it's like, because our kitchen is attached to it. So the whole thing's probably like, Crystal, what is that, like 50, 60 feet long?
Lord, I have no idea.
It's wide. It's got really high ceilings, like 22-foot ceilings or 20-foot ceilings. It's actually similar dimensions as the A room at Blackbird, even although mine kind of comes at an angle. Like I got part of it's vaulted and all that. But that's that ribbon mic right there. And that's out in front of the kick drum. And now it's kind of like I hadn't done it in a long time. Now that I've done that, I'm kind of falling back in love with the whole concept again. And so I might, and it's like a $300 ribbon mic. I might go out and buy one of those and use that. So anyway, I hope y'all could hear the difference there.
Okay, wait. I just saw something that kind of fits in. Oh, hi, Billy. I'm building a recording studio this spring. I was curious. Carpenter to carpenter, what is a good size to make the control room for accuracy in my mixes? So that kind of goes along with what you were just talking about.
God. Okay. I've got something on my Patreon about this. So there's something called the
yeah, you have some
the golden
ratio.
The golden ratio. And I can't remember what it is. Regardless of the size, although some sizes are better than others. You can find this on the internet.
That's what she said.
Huh?
Nothing. Continue.
And it doesn't need to be square. There's actually a kind of a ratio, like, it should be what is it, like, the width the shorter length should be 2/3 of the long length or something like that. I can't remember stuff like that, but you don't want it to be square. You can look this up, find a golden ratio. I would make sure your ceilings are kind of high too. Do not, this room's cool to hang out in. My ceilings are a little too low here. I wish I had an extra foot up there. It's also kind of wide. This room is not, like the low end's not perfect. I have to go finish up at my other studio for the low end. I can never quite nail it here. I do think there's the golden ratio, but I do think that there's certain sizes that are better than others, and it's actually pretty easy to find. But if you're looking at a control room design, you can just literally look up. Yes, and Mark Henderson's talking about diffusers as well. I should probably make a video about this. But like I said, I do have some PDFs up although I think those are probably behind the paywall there. But you could literally look this up online. The main thing I would say is, if you're building it, like if you're building a standalone building or whatever, make it bigger than you think you need it to be. Because if you're in a smaller room, you're kind of stuck with it. If you're in a bigger room, there's things you can do to it to work with. You can bring things in and you can add paneling and there's a bunch of other stuff you can do. But if you're in a small room, you're in a small room. Use the golden ratio, but make it as big as you can. And the other thing is, if you keep buying gear, you're going to end up like me. I'm tripping over things here. I mean, it's ridiculous, I always need more room. I had to work with what I had. Let's see, what else? And by the way, at the beginning of the stream, I meant to say that thanks that Casey helps me out, because I say, hey, we don't get much help here. Casey5181 on Twitch, which, by the way, did he ever come up with a new name? I think he's Casey5181 on YouTube. Casey helps us run this stuff, by the way. Him and Kit are running the stuff. Casey basically is the Discord man over there. He's the mod god on Discord. And we could not do this without Casey. And I meant to mention you earlier, Casey.
Well, he's not been feeling great. He had to drop off to go get some sleep.
Okay.
So,
sorry.
Let me do
and I just want to say, Casey, we're in Atlanta, Georgia. Casey's in the Netherlands. So when I do late streams, like the ones I did last week, he was up all night and I didn't think about it. And he stuck with us. So I just want to call him out and say thanks so much to Casey.
Dedicated. Just wanted to throw out there, let's see. Please make a video of this. Chakra 7, all of Billy's live streams will be you can find them on his YouTube page. If you go to his YouTube page, Freaking Out with Billy Hume, click on the live tab, you will find the live streams posted there. I do believe you can also watch past live streams if you're over on Twitch. You guys can find them on Billy's homepage on Twitch. Let's see, I saw something. Chakra 7 also asked, did you make your defibrillators? Oh my goodness.
Do you mean my diffusers?
I'm assuming the diffusers.
I did not make a defibrillator. How?
Defibrillators. Thank you. Defibrillators.
No, I made my own diffusers. And there's nothing too scientific about them. I mean, I looked it up, and it got kind of complicated, so I just built that, and it's just a bunch of wood slats at different angles,
different widths, different
angles, and stuff like that.
I also wanted to call. Let's see. Aiton asked if you do song critiques. Aiton, Billy does private consultations. That can be a song critique. It can be advice on things. It can be about gear. Sometimes he can even help you work in your DAW, whatever you work with. It depends. You can go on his Patreon and get recurring, private consultations with priority scheduling. That's the highest tier over there. Or hit us up at contactbillyhume@gmail.com. Depending on the schedule, we can sometimes schedule just one-offs. Usually it's not too hard, but lately the schedule's been kind of full. But yeah, contact billyhume@gmail.com if you want to find out more about scheduling private consultations.
I was going to say, where is it? Thanks, mediocre musician. I'm glad the videos are an inspiration for you. That is my goal. I want to inspire people. I want people to create new things and take chances and do their own thing. I think that's a beautiful thing.
And I got to say, I mean, I have a long list here of questions that I have not gotten to, but we've already been going 2 hours.
Yeah,
and
and
we
I
got to
gotta
get down to Sky Magnet's place.
Well, yeah, I got to return these mics.
Oh, Bent Sound asks, can you do a little dance for us? There's something you still need to do.
Hold on.
Somebody had a lot of fun
Oh,
and
God,
sent us a little present that
Hold
we
on.
want to share on the live stream.
Yeah, somebody. It was I got to pull up the email. Hold on, where is it?
Is it ABHD?
ADB.
Hold on.
Hold on, I'm just.
But anyway,
I'm looking on the wrong hard drive. Hold on, give me a chance to find this. I think I got it in here. Hold on. It's
yes, I'm sure it is late over there, Bloor.
Okay,
Thank you for hanging.
This is something that somebody sent me, and it's hold on. Let me pull up the email so I can credit this
Make
person
sure they get
correctly. But I got to go over here to another window. Hold on.
It's actually a little Easter egg at the end of the latest video too.
But we're going to show it here because he wanted us to show it, and I really appreciate it. But it is. Hold on. Oh, I got to respond to Schiff and Danny Boone and all them. Hold on, let me mark
Yeah,
this.
excuse us, y'all.
Sorry, I'm trying to take care of
business
many
stuff.
things here. Hold on. Where is it?
Okay, I'm throwing up a link to the latest video again.
Hold on. I want to credit this person, but I'm looking. You sent it to me, so it's forwarded.
Hold on, I can find it.
Oh, here it is.
Okay.
So, email came to me and it said it's from ABDI. He says he's watching one of my latest live streams, and they ended up like, I guess, getting a snippet of the video and editing it and made a little beat to it.
Well, no, the beat comes from the song that you were. I think the beat.
No, that's not my beat.
No, because it was from the live stream where we were playing people's submissions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so this is ABDI, and they're on Instagram. Oh, I need to put their link in the damn video description too, Kit. Please, can you write down a note?
Yeah.
Like, really write down a note and say, put his Instagram link in the video description, because this is at the end of the video. But I promised I'd play it, but this is it right here. Hold on.
So for those of you that don't know, we had a really cool contest recently. Billy created a whole bunch of cool samples, put them up for free on his Patreon, and the challenge was for folks to go get those samples and then make a whole song out of just those samples. Plus, they could record vocals if they wanted. And they can do anything to the samples, stretch them, turn them around, pitch them, whatever. And we ended up with 44 entries. They were fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to try to find the link to the SoundCloud. The SoundCloud.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to play ABDI's video that he made for me. Here it is. That was it. But I promised I would play it. So, hey, you're getting famous when people make edited videos of you dancing. And I'm dancing in another section on the new video. So anyway, then the reason we got to end the stream is because for the drum recording stream that we did last Wednesday, where we spent hours and mic'd up the drums, I borrowed several microphones from Justin Mullinix, a.k.a. Sky Magnet from Risky Biscuit Band. He brought these up and hung out and helped. So he brought up this Shure Beta 91. We use that on kick drum. He brought up his modified SM57. It's got a different transformer on it and this funky angle to it. And this Biodynamic, which I think I might want to buy one of these. This is an M201, and we put it right next to the SM57, and it really made that snare drum pop. I have to bring these back because he's doing a recording session tomorrow. So and he lives down in Atlanta, so it's going to be over an hour's drive. So we're going to drive those down to him tonight and then maybe go out and, have a beer or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, my computer got real slow, so I wanted to throw up more video links for everybody, but my computer couldn't keep up. So, but I've got several in there. Hey, remember, you can always go over to Billy's YouTube channel, Freaking Out with Billy Hume. You can look. He's got, well, I mean, more than 4 years worth of videos up there. So there's lots to look at. And you can also use the search function if there's something in particular you wanted to find out more about, like microphones or mixing, and search function works pretty good. So, yeah, I guess that's trying to think. Don't forget to hit the like button. Over there on YouTube, on Twitch, if y'all would follow us, please, that would be amazing. And keep an eye out for Billy's future streams. The notifications seem to be working better now, so that's good.
Yes, Justin. You guys appear to have a really fun life. Well, sometimes it's interesting.
Fun. It's never boring.
It's never boring, I'll say that much.
Yeah, we still have BBs in the carpet.
Oh, I meant to say that last time. Oh, I lost it.
You lost it again?
There's just one last BB I found, and it was right before the last live stream, and I meant to show it, and now I lost it again. So I'm going to find that last BB one more time.
I'm sure it's not the last BB.
Oh, man. I would like to say thanks to Mazuka Kai. Thanks so much. Society Sound Podcast wants us to. Oh wait, the Society Sound. Is that who like? No, Society Sound Podcast. That's PR and Brian and those guys. Isn't that it? Or it's not the guy that interviewed me, is it? No, Society Sound Podcast. I think is those crazy Hispanic guys.
Well, while Billy wonders about that, I wanted to also say, don't forget you can check out Billy's Discord. We've got a lot of cool folks over there. Billy's not been able to pop in over there as much as he would like, but folks there help each other out too. Oh, hey, John. And it's been really cool little community over there. So make sure to join us. And, you might be able to throw in some questions for our next Q&A.
Oh, I'd like to say to John Clark, John, if you want to come and punch in those vocals at the end, I'm totally cool with it, man. You got to bring me the poll for the Bobcat, the scary Bobcat anyway. We could run through the whole song one more time. It's no big deal. But if you want to come do it, it's up to you, man. I'm all good with it. It's not like you're going to take forever to sing the part. You're going to do it twice and it sound amazing. So if you want to do it again, I'm telling you, it's all right. We can, if you want to get the end of the song because you didn't sing what you normally sing, it's not like you suck or anything like that. I'm sure we can knock it out really quick. So just wanted to say.
Yeah, it's Esco and Brian.
Oh, Mixamite has a question. I'm about to end the stream, but go ahead and ask since you've been involved in some of this stuff.
Oh, it's any thoughts on how the producer Mac made those sick drums for Queen and Billy Squier?
Wait, is that the question from Mixamite?
Mixamite, I believe it is. Yes.
What was the question?
Any thoughts on how the producer Mac made those sick drums for Queen and Billy Squier?
I mean, I think having really great drummers to begin with. But to me, I hear that stuff and I hear a lot of room mics. That's something that, I don't know, I think good room mics and having good room sound is great. And also having a drummer that knows how to smack the drums really hard is really good. Anyway, we should probably get going here.
We gotta go. Yeah.
We gotta.
I'm sorry, guys. I didn't get to everybody's questions.
Yeah.
I'm going to probably have to start jumping around more instead of trying to get through them chronologically.
Yeah, and come to the Discord, and I'm gonna start doing a second stream each week at nighttime for the American audience. That's got to happen too, and I'm gonna start doing some private streams on the
on
Patreon. There'll be paid videos, there'll be paid live streams, but then you're sure to get your questions answered.
They're going to be a little more focused.
More focused on specific things like mixing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Esco and Brian, that's right. Yeah, I thought it was you guys.
I just told you that.
Oh, did you tell me that?
Yes.
Well, I told you I'm not ever listening. I'm only listening to half of what anybody says to me at any point in time.
Those of you that have been here the whole time, how he said that earlier? Believe me, it's true.
Okay, so I got to go. Thanks so much, everybody. I'll be back next Wednesday. Like I said, at some point, I'm going to start doing an evening stream. I'm still trying to figure it all out. But in the meantime, please go watch my new video.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to, it's this right here. I know I look scary there, but it was something that had to be said. Everybody,
The video
please,
is I totally flipped out on a live stream.
yeah, everybody, please go watch the new video. She's going to put up some links for that. Help me trigger the algorithm, and I'll be back definitely next Wednesday. In the meantime, everybody be good to each other and be unique.
Thanks, y'all.
See ya. Take 1, take 2, take 3, take 4, take 5, take whatever.